Yu is a virgin loser who gets slapped into the friend zone by the school's most popular girl. However, the moment his childhood friend confesses her love for him, Miss Popularity starts getting jealous and starts playing tricks on him to ride his monster truck. It all starts when Yu holds a sale at his school's art convention but fails to attract any customers due to his hideous face. By the end of the day, he only sells 5 items and realizes that he has a higher chance of getting a kitty than reaching his goal of selling 100 by tomorrow. That's when he runs into a blue-haired freak, Himari, who tells him that some girls came by the store while he was gone, meaning he missed the chance to make more sales. Yu sadly believes no one would want to buy any of his stuff, but the girl reveals she actually sold 27 items while he was crying in the bathroom. She then asks him why he wants to make 100 sales, saying he heard this from Sato-sensei from the science club. She shoves her face into his to demand an answer, and Yu bricks up, looking at her pretty face up close. Yu then reveals he wants to open a store when he grows up because he's too dumb to have a proper job. His parents obviously don't support his ambitions, but they told him he can do whatever he wants if he sells 100 items at the fair. Himari laughs so hard that she spills juice on his face and proceeds to call him an idiot for making such a harsh decision. She then notes that he only has 68 items left and decides to help him sell out the entire stock. 2 years later, Yu continues to sell flower-related accessories online through his family's convenience store. Even in school, he's created his private world where he ambitiously works on his craft and creates more items for his store. He's also gotten really close to Himari in the meantime, who often comes to bother him while he's working. As they engage in some friendly physical banter, Yu recalls treating Himari after the fair, and even gifting him a choker to show gratitude, which she wears to this day. Himari revealed she was stalking him for days and noticed his enthusiasm for flowers, so she decided to support his business. However, she ended up calling for a huge favor from her brother, and as payment, she demanded Yu's dull eyes. She noted his eyes light up when he worked on his craft, so he made him promise to never lose his passion and have his eyes light up every day for her. At present, Yu asks Himari about a talent agency that reached out to her, but she says she turned them down because she'll be busy helping him in the shop. She even jokes that she'll marry him if he doesn't open the store by age 30. And Yu asks her not to make such jokes because her brother Hibari has started treating him like he's his brother-in-law. Himari says the only way to stop him is if Yu marries someone else, but with a face only a mother can love. His chances of scoring are not very high. Himari asks him to touch some grass and get a shotty on his ding-dong, but Yu argues he can't get any because she's all over him in front of the other girls. Himari says she never had trouble scoring guys, completely forgetting that she's cute, while Yu looks like a poorly drawn NPC. She then goes into the fact that she belongs to a long line of nobles and might have to marry for family politics. But when Yu offers to compensate, she bursts out laughing because he totally bought into her fake story. At night, Yu returns home to the only kitty in his life, Deifuku, and recalls Himari telling him that she never finds any guy interesting other than him. Since both of them can't seem to get a good partner, Himari proposes they marry each other if they Aries still loners by 30. Yu tries to play it cool and says he prefers a more modest girl, and Himari excitedly jumps on his back because this is the first time she's ever been rejected. Later, Yu brings the batch orders to his sister Saku, who scolds him for coming without texting first. The next day, a guy walks up to Himari and tells her she can do much better than Yu, but she quickly stops his advances. She then questions if the friendship between a girl and a guy is just a myth, wondering if it's just a means to ride Yu's monster truck. She then tells herself that she's completely okay with Yu dating other girls, but it'll be sad if they have to part ways because of that. Meanwhile, Yu runs into a pretty girl at the vending machine and notes she's wearing a bracelet he sold 2 years ago at the fair. Just then, the bracelet breaks and the girl falls into despair. Seeing the damsel in distress, Yu mans up and offers to fix it for her. When under normal circumstances, he can barely talk to anyone other than Himari. The girl sternly asks him what he wants, and Yu goes back to being a wuss immediately after. During class, Himari keeps texting Yu to ask more about the girl he met. But when he starts scolding him by raising his voice, the teacher tells him not to interrupt Himari's studies. After class, Himari asks more about the girl, but Yu doesn't even remember selling anything to her. Just then, his friend Makishima shows up and claims Yu for himself, which starts a war between him and Himari. Later, Yu tells them to get along because they used to date a few years ago, but Himari says it was only because she was bored. She further adds that Makishima had 5 girlfriends at the time, yet she was the only one bullied for dating him. Makishima says it's her own fault for dating someone she didn't like, starting yet another fight between the two. Yu then asks for the purpose of his visit, and Makishima mentions the girl he ran into at the vending machine. He then asks her to come out of hiding, and as she says hi, Himari realizes the girl he met is Rin. Later, they discuss how Rin and Makishima have been friends for many years, but got separated because they went to separate schools. She also reveals she and Rin used to hang out sometimes because Rin is in his brother's class. 2 years ago, Rin's sister promoted his flower stall, and since then, she's become a fashion icon who is all over the magazines. Himari believes Rin got the bracelet from her sister, and Yui agrees she might have no idea he made it. They invite her to Yuu's workshop, where she presents the locket and sternly tells him to fix it at all costs. Himari intervenes, telling her to go easy on Yu because he has 0 social skills, much like you guys. Rin says she's being polite, but then gets startled when Himari puts a mirror in front of her face, revealing her frowning expression. She throws a tantrum demanding Yu fix the locket, and when Himari starts making fun of her, she grabs him by the face and tells him not to push her luck. Amid their fight, Himari suddenly starts squeezing Rin's honka-donkas, earning her an even worse beatdown. Later, as Himari sits there in shame, Yu finally starts working while Rin watches him closely. She notes that he has completely zoned out, and Himari explains he always goes into a trance while working, to the point that he can't even hear them talking. After a while, Yu finally fixes the locket and breaks out of the trance, only to find numerous hairbands in his hair, courtesy of Himari. Yu panics trying to get them off, and both girls share a moment of laughter. Rin then puts on the bracelet and thanks Yu for fixing it. As they walk home, Rin asks if they're dating, but Himari tells her they have been best friends for 2 years. She reveals she is fascinated by Yu's passion for work and wonders if they'll still be friends when he stops working. As it starts to pour, they take shelter on the roadside, and Rin asks her if she's ever been in a one-sided relationship with someone. When Himari asks for details, she pulls up a picture of her, explaining that she has been in love with the person who crafted the accessories she wears. Now that she knows it's Yu, Himari realizes she isn't the only one who sees Yu for who he is, and believing their friendship would last forever now seems like wishful thinking to her. The next day, while his cat is munching, Yu is having breakfast and realizes he hasn't talked to anyone other than Himari in a very long time. Just then, his sister Saku enters and says he looks like he got the life sucked out of him. Yu then tells him about the whole Rin situation, and she believes it is a good incentive, explaining how he only makes accessories to get Himari on his meat saber, and they all end up looking the same. She also advises him to put other emotions, like the deep despair of rejection. But when he argues that the sales are good, Saku reminds him he hasn't had a returning customer in ages. She then reminds him of his promise that if he fails to open his own store by 30, he will have to take over their family's store. She also jokes about him marrying Himari, but Yu walks out in frustration. In class, he reflects on Saku's words and realizes he might need to make a change soon. Later, Makishima stops Rin in the halls to remind her that he won't let anyone near Yu, but Himari soon shows up and the two start arguing. Just then, some girls ask Makishima to watch them play, and Himari immediately recognizes them as the pick-me Twitch thoughts from the tennis club. After Makishima leaves to clap them shotties, Himari thinks of a plan and meets Yu in the garden while he's tending to the flowers. She asks why he looked so down in class, and Yu explains he's planning on changing the theme in his next batch of accessories by adding passionate romance and despair of rejection. Himari is super happy to see him take interest in such topics and later encourages him to follow Saku's advice because it'll increase the sales. She also tells him to theme it around romance because his customers are mostly girls. Yu asks why she's interested in romance, and she says it's because she is super popular and a lot of guys ask her out. She then yaps about how a girl wants to kiss the boy she has feelings for, and even the desire to become his wife also falls into the same category. She then asks what kind of girls he is into, but Yu brushes it off because he genuinely doesn't care. He admits he never had the urge to kiss a girl when looking at her, so she sheepishly offers to kiss him for experience.
You serious?
Yu starts blushing and asks if she sees him as a man, but Himari says he's just her best friend. She then admits she hasn't kissed anyone before, so if they were to try on each other, they could understand romance better. While Yu is wondering if she hit her head on a shelf, she suddenly cuddles up to him and says holding hands is the same as kissing without emotions.
So that was a f***ing lie.
Because it's just a contact of skin. She also admits she likes holding hands with him and then confidently asks if he'd like to kiss her. Yu starts to think it is one of her tricks, but as she comes closer, he sees her red cheeks and wonders if she's really going to kiss him. Just at the last second, he closes his eyes, but Himari suddenly starts laughing at him, making him realize she was just teasing him. When he says she's gone too far, she promises to make it up to him and asks him to clear his schedule on Saturday. On Saturday, he finds himself on a road trip with Hibari, who says he misses Yu because he doesn't visit that often anymore. After warming up, he tells Yu that he and Saku used to be classmates, and he likes her straightforwardness. He further says how Saku was a genius in class, which makes Yu wonder if one of them is adopted. However, Hibari says he's nothing less than Saku because of his skill in creating accessories. He drops Yu at the mall, where he meets Himari, who has been waiting for him for a while. She inspects his clothes and tells him to stop dressing like a homeless New Yorker. But Yu quickly realizes she just wants him to match her energy. Yu counters that Hibari made him rush here, and he didn't have the time to pick something nice for himself. Himari then reveals she's joined by a special guest today, who happens to be none other than Rin. As they visit a restaurant, Yu nervously asks about Makishima, but Rin says he is busy with club activities. Noticing the awkwardness between them, Yu believes Rin is a glitched NPC who forgets how to talk after you exhaust his dialogue. Himari creeps in and asks if he's thought of his new batch, and when he says no, she tells him to challenge himself this time. She then reveals that Rin is willing to become a model for his next batch of accessories. Yu asks why she told Rin about his hobby, but Rin says she guessed after he fixed her bracelet. Himari then says Rin wanted to repay him for helping her, so she asked her to model for him. She even says he's lucky to have two cuties model for him, but Yu is a little hesitant because he hasn't warmed up to Rin. Himari believes he'll figure it out and reveals they'll be shooting at Rin's confectionery shop. Yu worries they'll mess with the business, so Rin suggests shooting it during the holidays. Rin excuses herself to discuss it with her mother, and in her absence, Yu asks Himari to go a little easy on her. However, Himari says she's the shy one, and they won't get anywhere without pushing her. Later, they head to the store where Yu excitedly buys new stuff for work. He then picks some stuff that suits Rin but makes sure she isn't creeped out by it. Rin says she's fine, but Himari purposely calls him creepy because she can't live without teasing him. When Yu gets all red and flustered, Rin finds it cute and lets out a quiet laugh. Later, Himari notices that Rin has good skin, so they should include it in the shoots. After seeking her permission, Yu leaves to find a necklace, but Himari urges him to put it on her. Rin hesitantly says she's okay with it, and Yu starts to think she doesn't see him as a man. However, when he leans in to put the necklace on her, she goes all red and moist, just like your mum when she sees a you-know-what. Himari notices this and comments that Rin's dress is revealing, which makes her blush even more. However, she is unable to tolerate her nonsense and grabs her by the nape, demanding that she cut the BS. Later, they head to the florist to buy some flowers for the photo shoot, and Rin is mesmerized by some thick purple flowers. However, she quickly gets embarrassed and maintains her distance from Yu. Yu then asks Himari for suggestions, and when she asks him to pick roses, he says it reminds her of Rin, who is thorny yet honest. Himari then leaves to get drinks, and on the way, she decides to set Yu up with Rin because she believes they understand each other. Yu takes the moment to apologize to Rin, but she says he doesn't have to because it was Himari's fault. She also reveals that Himari used to be quieter and would read books all day when they went to school together, so her mother asked her to befriend her. Rin used cookies to get closer to Himari, but Yu can't imagine her keeping her mouth shut for even a minute. He then asks Rin what flowers she likes, and she says she prefers them thick and big, which is a sentence she can also use in bed. Yu then decides to pick a flower that's pretty like her and eventually picks a tulip. He explains how tulip opens differently from other flowers, but soon realizes he might be coming off as a nerd. He then admits he didn't have any friends, so he was never interested in sports or games, and people kept telling him that his habit of flowers was boring. When he decides to skedaddle, Rin grabs his shirt and politely asks him why he likes flowers so much. Yu believes she's just trying to be nice since he helped her out, but Rin's eyes make it clear that she is genuinely interested in getting to know him better. Yu then reveals he loves Queen of the Night because of its unique smell, and it is so precious that he puts his heart and soul into ensuring the flower blooms. He also tells her about the time he went to a florist with his family, but got separated. That's when he ran into a girl who was crying all by herself, and as the two walked together, he realized she was lost too. The two started looking for their parents together, and before they parted ways, he bought her a flower that she promised to wear every day in her hair. Yu knew that the flower would die soon, but that encounter made him into a flower enthusiast, and if he took care of them, they might last longer. He did this because he wanted to feel connected to that girl, but now he feels too awkward talking about it. Rin quickly comments that the flower that the girl wore must have been a hibiscus, describing in detail how it was blooming red at that time. She even remembers Yu telling that girl that the color red suits her, and even though she hated red back then, she started to love the color since then. She then says that Yu's method of connecting with that girl has worked, because she is the same girl he met all those years ago. Seeing them connect so well, Himari leaves the drinks and heads home first. Later, Yu calls to make sure she's okay, but she doesn't pick up. Rin then asks if he's okay with exchanging numbers, and he nervously agrees. Meanwhile, Himari is already in her bed with her phone in her hand, but she throws it away in anger. She recalls Rin telling her that her sister brought her the bracelet she wears, which reminded him of the boy she met at the florist. Himari immediately connected the dots because she had heard the same story from Yu countless times, and she believes it is fate that has brought them together. This is why she wanted to help them, but the moment she left, she realized they didn't need her help at all. She is happy for both of them, but she is also a little sad because she's never seen Yu look so happy before. A couple of days later, Yu walks to school looking like a zombie and still can't believe Rin is his first love, whom he met all those years ago at the florist. He has tried texting Himari, but she's been leaving him on read. Just then, she says hi from the other shoe locker, and when Yu asks her to come closer, she keeps running away from him. He asks,
Why are you running?
And she says she's decided to keep 3-meter distance from him at all times. Just then, Rin shows up behind him, pulls his arm, and says good morning to him, which leaves the guy a bit uncomfortable. Yu then tells him about Himari's new antics, so Rin takes it upon herself to bring her out. She lures her out by saying she brought cookies, and the three of them walk to their class together. As the two girls argue, Yu finds himself acting like a side character in his own anime. Suddenly, Rin gives him cookies, and he realizes she's put a lot of effort into making patterns on them. She then says this is the only thing she's good at before walking off, leaving Yu a bit taken aback. Later on the roof, Himari jokes that he seems to be madly in love with Rin, and she should just read the room and leave them alone after school. Yu reminds her they're not dating yet, but Himari is surprised because she heard the whole story at the florist. Yu suddenly pins her against the fence and scolds her for eavesdropping. He also reprimands her for acting weirdly and forcing him to kiss her. But Himari goes all red and moist like he's about to swipe her V card. Yu gets flustered as well and tells her that there's nothing going on between him and Rin. He admits she was his first love, but he does not appreciate her assuming things about him and Rin. Instead of taking him seriously, Himari shoves a juice into his mouth and tells him to stop acting like a Karen. She then casually walks off, but Yu can't understand what she's doing and gets all hot and bothered when he recalls her reaction. Later, as he works in his lab, he is joined by Rin and Himari, and he tells them about the methods he uses to preserve flowers and turn them white. Rin then asks why he colors the flowers again, and he reveals it's because not doing this will make them wither when they're used in accessories. Just then, Himari's last 2 brain cells start acting up, so Yu asks Rin to keep her under control. Later, he finishes preparing the colors and reveals that it took him longer before because Himari kept annoying him during work hours. Himari casually says he has changed cause he used to flirt with her back then, but Yu calls BS and tells her to keep Rin in mind. Himari jokingly asks if they can smash if Rin isn't here, but Yu suddenly loses his cool and grabs her by the collar. Himari is amused by his quick reactions, and when she tries to change her words, the two start arguing among themselves. Meanwhile, Rin starts to think they're doing the forbidden ritual behind her back and casually leaves the room like she saw nothing. Himari begins laughing hysterically while Yu feels nothing but disappointment. As Yu closes in to smack her, she quickly grabs his hand and pushes him onto her. She then calmly says that they've already done it in Rin's mind, so it wouldn't matter if they did it for real this time. You can do it! She then reminds him of their marriage promise at age 30, and when Yu argues that was just a joke, she says she doesn't ever joke about marriage. She then suggests he experience these feelings of love with her to help him with his work, which leaves Yu flustered. He thinks to himself that they are best friends, but if they go down that path, they will become friends with benefits. He doesn't want to ruin their friendship, but Himari's face looks super cute to him at the moment, so he decides to go for it. As he leans in, he suddenly hears a ringtone and realizes that Himari is holding his phone. He quickly snatches the phone away from her and sees his own stupid face in it. As he expresses his frustration, Himari lies there laughing and enjoying every moment of teasing him. He asks her not to play tricks on him and goes back to work, but he can't shake the thought that he almost kissed her. Himari quietly says that he should have gone for it, but when he asks if she said anything, she brushes it off and asks how his day is going. She then leaves the room while calling him all sorts of things that'll get the video demonetized, and Yu fails to understand what she wants. As Himari takes the bus home, she looks almost disappointed.
Women.
Because Yu didn't kiss her. The next day, Yu runs into Makishima, and he asks him about Rin while Yu waters the flowers. Yu hesitantly admits that Rin sort of confessed to him, and Makishima adds that she wouldn't bake him cookies if she didn't want him to slap her kitty. He also adds that she has finally met her childhood prince, but little does she know he's a level 1 crook. Despite that, she's head over heels for him, and Makishima jokes about her having a terrible taste in men. Yu can't understand whose side he is on and warns him not to do anything funny to Rin because he's already having trouble dealing with Himari. Makishima suddenly gets interested and asks him to explain, and Yu tells him that Himari has been clinging on to him a lot more than before. Makishima gets amused and decides to target her next. Later, Rin is delighted to see that the flowers have now picked their colors, while Himari is visibly annoyed at him and Rin getting closer. Ignoring her, Yu declares he'll use these to decide the direction of the photoshoot. He then makes Rin pose in different angles, and after a while, Himari gets bored. She suggests making Rin do some Suzy poses, but Yu tells her to shut up and let him do his job. He then focuses his mind and realizes that Himari and Rin appear the same to him right now, so he must find something that separates the two. Just then, he asks to capture the Queen of the Night, and then explains that he wants to capture her as if she were the flower itself. However, when he starts to doubt himself, Himari gets annoyed and decides to help him. She then whispers something in Rin's ear, and as Rin looks back, Yu clicks a picture out of instinct. He then realizes this is the best one he's taken so far, and it appears to him that she's clinging to something important. Rin then asks if he really explored Himari's Chamber of Secrets, but when Himari says she was joking, she lifts up the stool and starts chasing her all over the room. She then asks how the picture was, and Yu thanks her, saying it was perfect. Later, as he and Himari walk home, he asks her what she said in Rin's ear. Himari says it's a secret, and Yu is certain it must be something Suzy. Yu then says the picture he took was perfect, and he'll Photoshop the accessory on it for advertisement. While he's explaining the theme of love, Himari gets jealous but hides her feelings and excitedly asks him to take a picture of her as well. For a moment, Yu thinks about it, but then something in his heart tells him that he should keep Himari to herself. Seeing the choker around her neck, he realizes that protecting his friendship is the most important thing in the world for him. After that thought, he tells her no, and Himari keeps walking with a smile. However, she stays up all night thinking about it and wonders if she'll always stay Yu's best friend forever. She gets up to get yogurt and thinks about how Yu is trying his best not to cross that line, but she thinks of him as more than a friend. She recalls Yu's expression at the florist and wishes she could have seen his eyes light up close. She wishes they would light up for her, too, but this friendship they've built gets in the way. She admits playing the BFF route caused her to lose Yu romantically, but now she must do her best not to lose him more. The following night, Yu celebrates the launch of his new batch with his friends, and Himari wastes no time in picking a fight with Makishima. After some friendly banter, Makishima asks him what he made, and Yu pulls out a beautiful red tulip that he's turned into a hairpin. He then turns towards Rin to give it to her, but Himari suddenly pushes him and ruins the moment. She then starts taking dozens of pictures and keeps yapping non-stop to cover up her jealousy. Makishima sees right through her BS, so he asks Yu to put the hairpin in Rin while they're at it. Both of them get flustered at first, but then he gathers up the courage and actually puts it on her. After ordering food, Makishima asks him what his plans are for the next batch and suggests that he and Rin become an exclusive duo because the photoshoot was immaculate. Yu says he doesn't mind because she's pretty at F, and Rin agrees to it as well. However, Himari gets all serious and says she can't accept it, only to go back to her usual self to salvage the situation. She claims people will make fun of Rin if she keeps modeling, but Makishima confronts her head-on, asking if she sees her as a threat. Yu tries to calm them down, but they both tell him to stay out of it. Himari then takes a moment to relax and says Rin will have to make reports and participate in the festival if she goes down that route. However, Makishima says she doesn't need to do any of that stuff and asks Himari why she's panicking. Himari keeps her cool and says she's only doing this for Rin, but no one seems to buy her story. Yu then says he's fine having Rin model for him and reminds Himari that it was her idea to begin with. He then reminds her that she's been acting very weird lately, and if she doesn't understand love, she shouldn't force herself to model in love-themed shoots. Himari is visibly sad by his statement, but things go from bad to worse once Yu says he feels uncomfortable when she forces herself on him. In reality, he's worried he'll fall in love with her, so he's doing this to ensure that Himari keeps her distance. Himari is upset and starts looking for yogurt in his bag to cool herself down, but when she fails to find any, she pours water on Yu's head. She then chews up her straw and decides to end their friendship, leaving him confused. She then throws it at his head and starts screaming that she's gonna end it here. which makes the guy scared for his life. The next day, Yu is at the vending machine wondering why Himari would dump him like a used Willy wrapper. And amid his daydreaming, he buys 2 packs of juice. As he returns to class, he shares one with Himari, but the tension between them is undeniable. Himari is amused, thinking Yu must be dying to talk to her, while Yu is looking at her, concluding she's got the beauty, but her brain runs on a hamster wheel. To mess with her, he opens a pack of her favorite yogurt, but when Himari starts to tear up, everyone thinks he's a jerk for hurting her. Just then, he sees that Himari has forwarded him an email from a company that wants to hire her. Turns out, she's accepted their offer and is soon to be transferred to Tokyo High School. Panicking, the guy quickly asks Himari what this is about, but she refuses to answer and runs away.
Why are you running?
While chasing her, Yu runs into Rin, who shows him a text from Himari saying she's off to Tokyo. Rin believes it's happening because she agreed to be his model, but Yu assures her she's not to be blamed. She also shows him a bag of cookies she's brought to change Himari's mind, and Yu decides to pair it with her favorite drink. They leave the stuff on a bench, hoping she'd take the bait, and she shows up like expected. Yu then asks her what this is about, but she runs away again until he stops her in the hallway. He asks if she's really that jealous of Rin becoming his model, but Himari smacks him in the face, saying he hates that side of him. Yu doesn't understand why he's being humiliated and says if they were really best friends, she would at least talk to him before leaving. Despite him speaking his heart out, Himari doesn't even bat an eye, causing him to get her attention by using force. However, he ends up breaking the choker on his neck, and Himari quickly retrieves the crystal before it breaks. This makes him believe he has always been a tool who'd make accessories for her, which causes Himari to tear up. She claims she has also just been a prop model for him, and he dumped her as soon as he found someone better looking than her. She reminds him that he promised she'll always be her exclusive model, but now he's given that spot to Rin, which must mean he wants to explore her backdoors. She admits she had no issue with Rin, but she cannot tolerate being in second place. She then throws the choker at him and says she'll go where someone needs her before running off. Later, Yu holds the broken choker in his hand when Makishima joins him. He asks why Makishima forced Rin to be his exclusive model, and the guy says he was playing wingman so he could finally get a shotty on his King Kong. He then explains that even though Rin wants to get back shots from him, she would get jealous if Himari were all over him, even if they've been friends for years. Yu initially doesn't understand why, but Makishima makes him see that he also likes Himari, and he's dating Rin so that Himari stays his friend while he can get sloppy toppies from Rin. However, he's now divided between the two, and he has to decide who's more important to him before he dies a virgin like the viewers. If he makes Rin his model, it will affect his friendship with Himari, and she's going to Tokyo because she cannot get over her feelings unless she's far away from him. Rin will start blaming herself for this outcome, and Makishima doesn't want his childhood friend to get depressed. Yu realizes that Makishima is actually a very thoughtful person, but when he says it out loud, the guy gets flustered. He quickly tells him to forget about Himari and clap Rin, as she is the best chance of him getting laid. After he leaves, Yu realizes he was so blunt because he wants him to choose Himari and make her stay. Later, he texts her to ask if she's really leaving, which starts a back and forth between the two. Yu then goes into a flashback of him making accessories all by himself, with not a single soul taking interest in him. However, when Himari came into his life, he could proudly show his work to the world, and the two became close friends because of it. Not wanting to lose what he has with her, he texts her that he'll get on his knees and apologize if that is what it takes for her to stay. As he waits for her reply, Himari is spinning like a top in joy because she never planned to go in the first place. She convinces herself that the tears she had earlier were also fake, but deep inside, she knows it was all real. She then recalls the broken choker but pretends it's just a piece of jewelry, even though her eyes say otherwise. After taking out her frustration on a plushie, she vows to make Yu pay for what she's put her through. The next day in class, Himari expects him to beg her, but the guy minds his own business and focuses on his studies. She waits for him during lunchtime, but the guy never shows up on the roof, much to her frustration. However, she convinces herself that Yu must be crying in the bathroom and gets happy. At home, she sits in front of her phone waiting for a text, but doesn't hear from him for hours. As the night rolls in, she checks her phone and sees a picture of Rin with what appears to be a cropped-out Yu. The next day, Yu uploads a picture of Rin with the new accessory on his page, and Himari starts to think she no longer has a place in his life. Her eyes start to tear up, but she quickly wipes them off and pretends to be cool in front of Hibari. However, the guy bluntly asks if he and Yu had a fight, leaving her no choice but to tell the truth. Hibari is furious that she tried to manipulate Yu with a lie and reminds her that he had to humiliate himself in front of Rin's sister all those years ago because of her. Even though he never wanted to, he helped her because he fell in love with Yu's work and made Himari make a promise that she wouldn't back out of supporting him midway. However, her actions have gone against their agreement, and when Hibari starts scolding her, she admits that she's developed feelings for Yu. Hearing this, Hibari gives a full TED talk to the girl, explaining that life is too short to play games and that she must confront her feelings before it's too late. The next day after the exam, Himari texts Yu to meet up with him, and he invites her to the science lab. Once she arrives, her mind blanks out, and she struggles to say her piece. She then asks Yu to go first, so the guy pulls something out of his pocket to give her. However, he accidentally hands her the notification of withdrawal, revealing that he's planning to quit school and go to Tokyo with her. Makishima told him to decide what's most important to him, so he thought about it and decided it's her. Himari asks why he's giving up on his passion, and Yu replies that making accessories is boring without her. He then asks if they'll stop being together if he stops making accessories, and Himari says no. She says she loves watching videos with him, having onion rings after school, taking the train with him, and she loves it the most when she laughs with him. She then snatches his withdrawal notice and says he doesn't need it because she's staying. While she's taking a sip of her juice, Yu gets up close and asks her what she'll do about her fans in Tokyo, which makes her cough up. Since his face is too close, she starts to feel the urge to kiss him, but then decides not to give the state of her mouth. She then tells him that they should go back to being friends, and she wants him to give her the first priority. Yu then gives her a friendship ring he made from a preserved soft windflower, expressing that she is still his best friend. He admits he might make her angry again, like this time, but that doesn't mean he cherishes other people more than her. Hearing this, Himari asks the guy to turn around and climbs on his back, asking him to put the ring on her. After he does, she hugs him closely and asks him to marry her if they are single by age 30. Later, he asks his sister Saku to arrange some fresh purple tulips for Himari because he is working on a secret project for her. Yu then recalls how he has always been obsessed with flowers, so much so that he would secretly draw them in his notebook during lectures. He was always the shy and reserved guy, which was in complete contrast to Himari, who kept embarrassing herself in front of the whole class. She forced him to have lunch with her, and when a guy asked her to befriend him instead of this boring guy, she told him that Yu is the smartest guy she knows.
You sure about that?
One of these days, she noticed that Yu was avoiding him and confronted him, but the guy acted like nothing was wrong. She then started tickling him until he finally admitted that he was put off by people bad-mouthing him. Himari told him they've been doing the same to her, and if he focused on others too much, he'll die a virgin like you guys. Yu mentioned how she's lucky to be popular with so many friends, but Himari told him it was not all rainbows and sunshine. She then showed him messages from the boy earlier, revealing he has been begging her to go out with him even when he already has a girlfriend. These are the type of people she has to deal with because of her popularity, but she doesn't let what others think of her change who she is. She claimed purity mattered more than looks, which was the only W for Yu since he was built like an NPC with the default settings. She then said his eyes looked so pure when he was working on accessories, and since she wanted to be his best friend forever, she told him never to fall in love with her. Yu promised to be her best friend forever, only to realize she was recording him all this time. She ran around the entire lab to make her delete the recording until both of them were out of breath. She then decided she'll tell everyone she's getting clapped by Yu so other guys stop approaching her. But Yu was worried he'll get bullied even more. Himari suddenly grabbed his hand and asked if he would want to date her for real, but Yu shut her down immediately, which she took very lightly. At present, he arrives at school, regretting the fact that he missed his chance to confess to her. Just then, Himari shows up, and he greets her with a bright smile. But Himari suddenly asks why his face looks like he's suffering from explosive diarrhea. As they walk to class, he asks where the ring is, and Himari reveals she's wearing it around her neck. Yu then starts talking to himself about how cute Himari looks, and Himari somehow reads his mind. Much to his shock, she asks if he wants to do it in the changing room, which prompts Yu to ask her if they should really go out with each other. He then says he was joking, but Himari isn't so fond of the joke, so he immediately apologizes. Himari acts all cool and runs to the women's room, where she finally lets out her inner demons. She is panicking because she thought Yu was serious for a moment, and because of that, she was unable to tell him something important. Later, Himari learns that Yu fell asleep during the exam and was only able to answer one question. However, the management was nice enough to grant him a supplementary exam on Sunday, and if he gets passing marks in each subject, they might do something about it. She then asks how he feels about someone revealing his identity on social media, and the guy says he no longer cares if people know about his side hustle. However, Himari is panicking because she doesn't want him to become popular among the ladies. She worries more girls like Rin would want to model for him, and he'll accept like he did last time because he's too big of a wuss to say no. Yu comforts her, saying that as long as she keeps the ring he gave her, she will always be his first priority. Himari is caught off guard by his response, so she responds by smacking him in the face. As they begin arguing, they notice that Rin is staring them dead in the face, and while Himari gets all sad, Yu nervously asks her why she's been standing there and not joining them. Rin doesn't say much and apologizes before walking away, and both of them wonder what happened to her. During class, Yu is worried about Rin, while Himari is worried about the fact that everyone knows about Yu's hobby. She has an idea of who did it, but she is hellbent on scoring him no matter what. Later, she meets Makishima on the roof and asks why he did it, and Makishima says he did it for Rin. Himari argues Yu is her best friend, and she isn't into sharing. Makishima jokes that Yu might take her V-card if she begs him enough, but Himari is certain things will go her way no matter what. The guy then poses an open challenge to her, stating that she is not even a threat to his plans before leaving. On the bus, Yu asks Himari what he should study for the supplementary exam, and Himari says Hibari will guide him later. She then recalls he hasn't visited them in over a year, which reminds Yu that her grandfather had prepared a banner for the two of them when they were admitted to high school. Once they arrive at her place, Himari reveals that the old man is in the hospital, and her mum is getting back shots from her dad, who has finally returned from the supermarket. This means they're all alone, but Yu smacks her in the forehead, saying he's here to get a lecture from Hibari.
Come on, man.
Himari reveals he isn't home, but he's already complied the important points and sent it to her, which means she'll be the one teaching him. Yu starts to panic thinking Himari might try to give him a sloppy toppy. But he soon learns that Hibari is home and she was just messing with him. As they begin studying, Hibari says he sees fire in Yu's eyes when he's working, and he's confident his accessories will make him famous worldwide. This is why he will personally take care of everything that becomes a hurdle for him, including this exam. After studying all evening, Himari guides Yu to the bath and apologizes for Hibari's high energy. Meanwhile, Yu notices that Himari looks gorgeous in a yakuta and decides to make her model in one later. Himari then leaves him in the shower room, but before he can step into the hot spring, she returns and catches him in his birth suit. He panics and asks why she's here, and Himari says she wanted to wash his back for working so hard, Yu argues she's a girl, but Himari says it's okay since they're best friends, unless he secretly goons to her feet pics. Not wanting to fall for her tricks, Yu agrees to it.
Yeah, boy.
Which immediately causes Himari to go red. She then asks Yu to sit with his face towards the wall while she changes. When she returns, Yu feels her hands across his back, but when he opens his eyes, he realizes Hibari is the one doing it.
Oh, God, please, no! No!
The man screams in terror. Later, Hibari tells him that even though Himari is a troublesome girl, she comes around and apologizes when she's wrong. He then asks if Himari apologized to him since they're back to being friends, but Yu says it was he who apologized because she did nothing wrong. Hearing this, Hibari suddenly goes all serious and demands details from Yu. Meanwhile, Himari is in her room, still enjoying the fact that she made a fool out of Yu. She knows Yu won't make a move on her, which gives her infinite ways to cross the line and prank him as much as she wants. Just then, she hears someone approaching and fixes herself, thinking it's Yu. However, it turns out to be Hibari, who tells him he needs to talk with an evil smile on his face. The next day, as he drops Yu off at school, he tells him not to worry about the exam as he's already learned most of the things he needs. Yu thanks him for the help, but he can't understand why Himari is crying in the backseat. After he drops them off, Yu finally asks her if she's okay, but she wipes her tears off and starts smiling. Just then, Rin shows up looking like she hasn't eaten for days and sternly asks if he and Himari were in the same car. Yu tells her Hibari drove them here since he spent the night at their place, explaining that he's studying for the mock exam. Hearing this, Rin suddenly fires up and declares she'll stay over at Himari's place as well, much to their shock. The next day in class, Yu keeps thinking about what it'll be like to live with Himari and Rin under the same roof. Just then, he gets a text from Himari who tells him that since Hibari is on bad terms with Rin's sister, he will not let her stay over for the night. Himari then teases Yu by reminding him of what happened last night, which causes the guy to yell out loud and distract the class. After class, he is approached by some pick-me thoughts who got to know about his side hustle and are now glazing him so he could make them accessories too. However, Yu tells them he's busy with the retake exams, which shocks them because they thought he was actually smart. Just then, Makishima shows up and asks why he's wasting his time with these filthy casuals. Meanwhile, Rin meets with Himari to ask what she should bring for the sleepover, but Himari hesitantly tells her that they're not having a sleepover, which ruins her plans of getting backshots from Yu. While Makishima and Yu hang out in the courtyard, Yu scolds him for leaking his identity, but the guy doesn't feel guilty at all. He then tells him about the whole sleepover situation, and Makishima is proud of her because he knows she's only doing this because she wants Yu's sausage. Makishima finds their love triangle quite entertaining and wonders who Yu will end up choosing, but Yu only sees it as a group study session. However, when he learns that Makishima and Rin saw him and Himari get a little touchy in the lab the other day, he begins to sweat bullets. Later, he runs into Himari, who tells him they're gonna have group study at his place. Yu rejects it because he's not comfortable with having Rin over. But Himari says she accidentally told Rin they're having it at his place, so he has to comply to save Himari's face. As she tries to charm him with her cute looks, a girl asks her to join them at the student council room for a meeting. Before Yu can react, she runs off and leaves him in panic. He quickly returns home and finds his room in a messy state, so he spends the next few hours cleaning. Soon after, Rin shows up looking tastier than chocolate cheesecake, and Yu nervously welcomes her inside. He tells her he's all alone at home for now, and Rin expects him to pull out his meat saber before Himari joins them. She then questions where he keeps his flowers, and Yu reveals they're in a cupboard so his cat doesn't end up eating them. The two then get to actually studying, and Rin says she's second in her class with perfect scores in 4 out of 5 subjects. Yu wonders who is in first place, and she reveals it's Makishima, much to his shock. Later, while solving a math problem, Rin leans on the table, and Yuu's little soldier gets excited upon seeing her jiggle physics. He quickly snaps himself out of it and rushes to the kitchen to cool off. The guy isn't ready to lose his V-card, who he wishes Himari comes soon and plays cockblocker for him. When he returns with tea, he sees that Rin is sniffing his pillow. She gets embarrassed and explains she couldn't help it because it smelled like cherry sage, and Yuu explains it's because he spilled some tea on it earlier.
So that was a f***ing lie.
After tasting the tea, she goes back to smelling the pillow and confirms that it indeed smells like cherry sage. Yuu tells her to stop because it's embarrassing, but she lies on his bed and says it's okay because she's already confessed that she likes him. Yuu then recalls the moment she first confessed to him and wonders what he would have done if he hadn't planned to leave for Tokyo with Himari. By the evening, Rin falls asleep on his bed, and when he tries to wake her up, he casually embraces him in her sleep. Just then, Himari and Saku barge into his room and explain the guy frantically explains everything. Later, Rin wakes up and apologizes to everyone, and Saku realizes she's Kiriha's sister, who is her classmate. She also reveals that she, Kiriha, and Hibari often hang out, which comes as a surprise to Himari. Rin then thanks her for taking care of her sister, and Saku questions if she really likes her bum of a brother. After Saku leaves, Rin says she's a great sister, unlike Kiriha, who comes and goes as she pleases. Rin then starts teasing the two of them, but Yuu says she can stop now because Rin has already confessed to him. Himari asks why he was ready to go to Tokyo with her even when he had a chance of getting laid, and Yuu reveals he actually turned her down. She can't believe they're so normal despite the rejection, only to learn that Rin has actually confessed 4 times now. Rin goes into a panic and frantically tells him that he must not fall for Rin's tricks, even if she was his first crush. Rin then pins her against the wall and asks Yuu if what she just said is true. As things calm down, Yuu admits he did have a crush on her, but he isn't sure if he likes her anymore. Despite that, Rin is optimistic that she'll eventually get her turn to ride his monster truck. He then asks the girls why they've been acting weirdly around each other, and Rin reveals she had texted Himari not to talk to her again. Turns out, Himari told her she supports her pursuit of Yuu, but then she tried to take him to Tokyo, which upset her. However, she realizes she has no right to be mad because Makishima told her she won't get what she wants until she's number 1. Now, Rin wants to be best friends with both him and Himari, so she can have a 3-way. She also believes Himari has done an excellent job as his model, so if she also wants to model for him, she has to prove her worth. Now, she wants to learn more about orders and shipping so she can not only help them but also her parents, who run a cake shop. They both admit that it's a great start for Rin and are excited to work with her. Later, as Hibari drives her home, Himari realizes that she did a terrible thing by going behind Rin's back. She then asks Hibari if he still goons over Kiriha, but the guy tells her to mind her own business. He then goes on to lecture Himari about the things she's done, which include having Rin as a partner, causing Yuu to fail in exams, and pretending to be his best friend so she can gaslight him into giving her back shots. Hibari believes Yuu doesn't need any of them to achieve his goals, and then jokes that he'll adopt him into the family if need be. Himari asks what she should do, and Hibari suggests she start by being honest with him. If she cannot tell Yuu the truth, there is a solid chance she will lose him to Rin. A few days later, Yuu passes the retake exam and is relieved that he doesn't have to quit school. A few days later, Yuu is walking towards his class and wondering about how he can level up his drip riz business to the next stage. Just then, he runs into Himari, who immediately uses his charms to make his junior tickle. As they walk to the class, they engage in their usual back and forth until she says she told everyone that she loves his eyes. Yuu is worried people will think they're clapping, but Himari pretends not to understand his concerns. Since he knows she's in her clown mode, he channels his inner Ohio Rizzler and assertively tells her that he won't date her out of peer pressure. He then notices Himari's nervousness, who hesitantly asks him what will happen if they start dating for real. Before he can answer, she leans in to kiss him, but the guy already knows she's messing with him. He flicks her forehead to punish him, and even though they both pretend they caught the other, they secretly want a cardio on the bedsheets. After class, Yu and Himari are at the vending machine when Rin shows up. The guy compliments her summer outfit, which immediately breaks Himari. Not wanting to get a broken nose surgery, he immediately turns to Himari and invites her to a meeting. Outside, he asks them what he should do with his current stocks, because it won't be very pog if the flowers are preserved for too long. Himari suggests they take pictures and upload them for the public, but they are interrupted when two girls named Maupi and Azukian show up. They ask Yu to make them accessories, and he recalls seeing these girls in the hall a few days ago. He takes them to the science lab and tells them they can choose anything they want from this box. The girls argue they want something custom made, and Himari adds that those things not only need some lore, but are also pricey. Maupi then reveals she wants 2 matching accessories for her relationship anniversary, so Yu agrees to brainstorm for them. However, after some hours of thinking, he couldn't come up with a single plan, giving Himari another chance to roast him. Later, he decides to use the cornelian cherry as the main flower, which represents longevity and maturity. Himari thinks something this old low-key belongs in a museum, but Yu, having met the couple, thinks it suits them best. He also believes that if they want to last long, a calmer accessory slaps for them on God. He then asks the girls to go ahead and clown him if they want, but they surprisingly support his idea. As for the price, Yu admits the current rates are too steep for a student, and they're mostly focused on selling online, which is why they are not popular in school. However, since everyone knows about him now, it might cause him trouble as girls might try to pay him with a sloppy toppy. Himari and Rin can't let anyone take his V card, so he promises to be more assertive towards the customers. Days later, Yu creates the matching accessories for Maupi, and the couple approves the design. He then takes measurements of the guy's neck and advises him to show the necklace instead of tucking it into his shirt. The guy initially planned to hide it, but since Maupi loved the accessories and Yu listened to them wholeheartedly, he decided to heed his advice. At night, Yu finishes the final preparations and hands it to the couple the very next day. After that, Azukian shows up to place a custom order, and the group discusses their increasing workload at the cafe. A few days later, Yu hands Azukian her accessory, and their lab is swarmed by more girls who want to get laid using his work. Later, the group holds another meeting to discuss the custom orders, and even though they're more work, they also bring more money. On top of that, Maupi and Azukian were so impressed by his work that they promised to promote his products in the school, and students now think Yu's accessories will help them score some GYAT. With that much workload, Yu decides to stay at Himari's place to get work done because his cat annoys him way too much at home. He's been working non-stop, so Himari offers him to nap on her lap, and he surprisingly accepts her offer.
Yeah, boy.
He then looks up to her face, and Himari assumes he's thinking that he wouldn't be able to see Rin's face because she's packing bigger melons than her. As she pulls his cheeks to punish him, he reminds her of how she wanted a love accessory exclusive to her. He also recalls how all her past relationships have been a disaster, and she's kinda given up on love, so he can't understand why she wants a love accessory. Turns out, Yu thought she found a new crush, and even when he thought he was okay with it, something about it bothered him. He wants Himari all to himself as a best friend, but he doesn't want to impose this on her on the off chance that she actually finds someone she can love. Amid his thoughts, Yu dozes off, and Himari realizes that his passion for creating accessories has only increased. There's a new fire burning in his eyes, which makes him even more Sigma. Himari worries he's eventually going to outgrow her and run off somewhere, but then tells herself that as long as she has this friendship ring around her neck, Yu's Coctopus Prime belongs only to her. She also admits that things cannot be the same anymore because now she's developed a crush on him, and she's the happiest she has ever been. The next day, Yu discusses the new products with the girls when Makishima shows up to tease them. Himari quickly latches onto Yu to assert dominance, but Makishima jokingly says she should save the touching for when he actually wants to clap her. After some back and forth, Makishima turns to Yu and invites him to lunch so they can discuss his future. Later, Yu asks him if he told the girls to advertise his products, but Makishima says they did it on their own. He also admits he has done something that might be a double-edged sword, but it's all to ensure that it benefits Rin. Yu wonders why he's such a big simp for Rin, and Makishima admits it's because he owes her big time. Later, a boy named Sasaki approaches Yu and asks him if he sold this accessory to a girl. He says yes, only to learn that the guardians of that girl are complaining that he forced her to buy it at a steep price. Yu argues he made it just as she wanted, and the price was discussed beforehand, but the only proof he has is the delivery receipt and a note. He also reveals he's been following the same procedure for the ones he sells in school, but the ones sold in the store are legally managed by his sister. Sasaki says that he will discuss this issue with the teachers, and even if they say his sales pose no threats, the parents still won't approve of his side hustle because they believe their daughter was forced. For safety reasons, the guy tells him to stop selling the accessories until this issue is resolved. When Yu discusses this with the girls, they are naturally upset and decide to confront the girl who filed his complaint. Turns out, the girl in question wanted to impress her crush using Yu's accessory. But since she got rejected, she thinks Yu scammed him. As Yu and the girls approach the scene, he sees her throw the accessory away and immediately realizes what happened. Himari gets violent with her because she doesn't want Yu's hard work to go to waste, but she wants nothing to do with them and leaves. Meanwhile, Yu picks it up from the ground, thinking how naive he was to believe that love is always pure. And this canon event got bro rewriting his whole moral script. The next day, Sasaki and the school principal meet Saku and fill her in on the situation, suggesting that they introduce a refund policy to avoid future complaints. At school, Malpi and Azukion apologize to Himari because they just wanted to hype up Yu's brand, but instead ended up dropping a flaming bag of L's on his doorstep. While heading to the class, Himari realizes Yu is in a pickle, and now is the best time to support him so she can gaslight him into clapping her cakes. She tries approaching him in class, but the man doesn't respond and sits in silence, though that doesn't shake Himari's confidence. Later, Yu meets Makishima, and he gives him the option to slap him because, in a way, it was his doing. However, Yu believes he would have done the same thing if he were in his shoes, and his maturity surprises Makishima. Meanwhile, Himari and Rin are walking across campus, discussing how Yu has stopped making accessories and needs to cool off before he can continue. Himari believes it's not that serious and suggests taking him somewhere on the weekend. But Rin feels like that event has left a deep scar on Yu, and a mere weekend trip won't help him. Hearing this, Himari gets a little upset because Rin is being more protective of Yu and believes Makishima set her up to make her look good. Rin denies all accusations, but Himari thinks she's a clever fox who only pretends to be a dummy. While they're arguing, Yu arrives with a box of all the returned accessories and enters the lab, and Himari confidently declares she was right about Yu. Rin replies that she hates this selfish side of hers, which leads to another quarrel. Later, they get together to brainstorm what they should do with the returned items, and Yu says they can't resell them because of the scratches. Himari is in a fight mode because all these people had them custom made with the price in mind, but Yu doesn't match her energy, which makes her worry for him. To lift the tension in the air, she suggests doing something fun on the weekend, and Rin joins her, asking Yu to come to the tea shop in the mall. Himari adds it'll give him new ideas for accessories, but Yu shockingly says he's putting a pause to his hobbies until he graduates. Himari tries to convince him to continue, but Yu says people have been writing Reddit hate threads about him, and he's not strong enough to face all that hate. He then says he won't quit making accessories, but Himari doesn't want him to stop, even for a day, and tries to shove juice down his throat to make him feel better. In her struggle, she ends up jizzing it over his face, which makes her stop struggling. She calmly says she loves seeing him work and would do anything to rekindle the fire in his eyes, but Yu gets upset, thinking he's only worth anything to her if he makes the accessories. Himari explains she's only trying to remind him of his dream, but Yu scolds her, saying he doesn't need a chump like her to force his dreams on him. Himari gets so hurt that she's about to yeet the box out of the window, but then stops at the last second and leaves the room. Returning home, she plants herself on the bed and listens to music to cool off. Hibari questions what she is sulking about, and she tells him Yu has stopped making accessories. Hibari correctly guesses that she must have pushed him to do something he didn't want to. Himari says she doesn't know what she would do if he stopped, which makes Hibari happy because this is the first time she's been honest about her feelings. He doesn't know how Yu will respond to her outburst, so he advises Himari to stay put and wait for the guy to get back on his feet by himself. He then gives a monologue about how people often face a do or die choice in their lives, and those who make the right choice survive till the end. He also explains how she was never attracted to his accessories, but to the unconditional kindness that he showed her. Similarly, he was attracted by the opportunities she brought into his life, and she's one of the main reasons his hobby was published to the world. He gives an analogy of a closed garden that is vulnerable to outside influence, and it's up to the gardener to train it to survive such instances. As his best friend, Himari has a role to play in all of this, so Yu can help himself get back on his feet. The next day, Yu apologizes to Himari for saying too much, but she's only concerned about him not making accessories. She says she'll cut ties with him if he doesn't continue, asserting that it is her dream to make sure he gets his own accessory shop. If someone comes in the way of her dream, she will cut ties with that person, even if it's Yu himself. She then walks off, expecting him to change his mind, but Yu refuses to fold. A week later, Yu is ready to head home but runs into Rin, so the two hang out at his place and play games. When Yu says he's having fun, Rin tells him to stop lying to himself, because the thing that he really enjoys is making accessories. Yu says he doesn't feel the same fun since that incident, and Rin questions how a wimp like him even scored a baddie like Himari. She then reminds him that she's vowed to become their number one, but Yu calls her stupid, saying she has no right to question his dynamic with Himari. He also says he hates this unhinged side of hers, and she chuckles because it makes her feel like she's replacing Himari. She also knows he's lying, so Yu finally caves and takes her to his room.
Yeah, boy.
Where he shows her the new earrings he's been working on. He has been questioning himself on why he kept this hobby, and the only thing that explained it was that he wanted Himari to like him. However, he used her as a stepping stone and started making things for his own sake, and he feels disgusted for being so selfish. He always thought his affection towards Himari was pure, but now he feels otherwise and wants to distance himself from this hobby. Rin flicks his forehead and tells him that he needs to stop thinking so much, but he replies that it's easier for someone as straightforward as her. He praises her for helping out her parents, joining the band, and modeling for him, but Rin says he hates tending to the shop and came here to play games with him because she wanted to skip the band. She explains she's also a complex human with emotions, and even when he keeps rejecting her, she continues to chase after him because she loves him, and just hearing him say her name is enough to make her fountain leak. She then says it's okay if he makes accessories for Himari or the customers, and it shouldn't matter how others utilize his work. She adds that she will support him even if he stops making accessories, but he won't have Himari in his life. She asks him to choose between the two of them, so Yu decides to continue his work so he can have Himari too. Rin fully supports his decision, believing that she may have bridged the gap between her and Himari by convincing him. She takes him to Himari's club room, where she gives him the cold shoulder because he refuses to do what she says. She gets all sinister and tells him to worship her like she's a Greek goddess, but Rin forces her to drop the tough girl act. Himari then apologizes for lying about Tokyo, but Yu says it doesn't matter because she'll always be his number one. Hearing this, something in Himari's brain short-circuits, and she pours water all over herself. She then says watching him work is her favorite thing to do, so she will wait for him until he's ready to make accessories again. Yu admits he only made accessories to make her happy and didn't care about the customers. which causes her to go red. She then starts laughing out loud and goes back to the annoying goof she was before the incident. Yu calls her annoying, but he doesn't know it's all a cover-up to hide her true feelings. She then jumps on his back and asks if he'd like to taste her forbidden fruit, but Yu says he'd rather die hungry. As things go back to normal, the second year of the school passes peacefully. Soon after, Rin's older sister Kiriha arrives to punish a certain someone who's been throwing dirt on her name. That's it for this video. Leave a like if you enjoy, and subscribe to the channel for the next part. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.